how do we make ourselves happy?
Here's the question. What's going on inside the minds of top achievers that cause them to make extraordinary breakthroughs both personally and professionally? My name is Tim Shurr, and I invite you to join me as we take a deep dive into the unconscious mind and discover how to transform your biggest dreams into a reality. Welcome to the How to Be Mesmerizing podcast.
Hey guys, what's going on? It's Tim Shurr, and I'm driving in the car. It's about 7 in the morning. I just dropped my son off at high school, and I was listening to a podcast, and there was a gentleman by the name of Mickey. I didn't catch his last name, but he wrote a book called The Untethered Soul. There's a plug for his book. Anyway, I liked what he was saying because he was focused on how do we make ourselves happy, right? And there's lots of tools to make ourselves happy, but he just said a few things that I liked the way he said it, and I thought I would capture it here for you. So he said the goal of life is to figure out how to control what's going on the inside. Most of us spend our life trying to control what's going on the outside. We think that if we just have if we have enough muscles, or if our body looks thin enough, or if we have enough money, or if we drive a nice enough car, or we have a big enough house, or we marry the right person, or we dress the right way, or we live in the right place, or we wear the right clothes, on and on and on, then we're going to be happy. Because as long as our outer environment is what we think it should be, then we will be happy and feel successful. And there's so many people that have a lot of those things and they're not happy, and it's because they didn't do the inner work. If you focus all your energy on trying to control what's going on outside of you and around you, but you don't spend the time doing the inner work of what's going on inside of you, what's driving you, what are you trying to prove, what rules do you have in your head that set the expectation for how life is supposed to be. You know, these rules determine whether we're happy or not. So we have a rule about everything. If the person driving in front of you is going too fast or too slow, you have a rule about what that speed limit is. Some people say that if they're driving a mile slower than they want them to, then I have to be stressed and angry. Then I have to have road rage and be honking and screaming, or I have to fly in front of that person and then slam on my brakes, or put my hand out the window and say, hey, you're number one. We have all these rules in our head, and a lot of times, because these rules are unconscious, we don't even realize that they're there. And so the term that Mickey used was cost-benefit analysis. He says, in business, you're looking for the cost-benefit analysis, right? How can I get the most amount of benefit for the least amount of cost? And we go through life trying to do that, but usually our approach is pretty poor. Okay, what happens is we are trying to prevent pain. Our mind is always trying to avoid pain. We have experiences through our formative years when we're growing up as a kid, and some experiences are pleasurable and some experiences are painful, and our mind creates all of these rules designed to push away pain and to increase more pleasure. And so what happens is we start to develop these strategies and defense mechanisms that are simply designed to protect us from feeling those uncomfortable feelings. And so our brain will unconsciously start to think that this means that, and if this means that I'm going to experience pain, then I have to avoid that, or I have to act a certain way, or I have to say things or not say things. I need to be seen or not be seen. I need to please people or forget about people. I'm going to love animals instead, right? There's all kinds of rules that come up in our mind that are trying to prevent discomfort. And I've said for a long time that it's usually in those places of pain and discomfort that our biggest breakthroughs are hidden. It's the places we don't want to go. That's where we get the insights, the aha moments, the self-awareness that actually does free us from those habits that where we're trying to avoid pain, and the way that we try to avoid pain actually creates more of it. So for example, if you're starting to feel tension when you're having a conversation with somebody, either tempers are flaring, or you don't like conflict, or maybe you do like conflict, okay? But whatever the situation, a lot of times what people will do is they enter a conversation screaming, which does not improve the conversation. It only makes things worse. Communication doesn't exist when you're screaming. There's just a bunch of loud blaming and accusations. The only way to really improve communication is to have compassion and be honest and understand where the other person's coming from, and then articulate as best you can where you're coming from, and then make sure that each person in the conversation understands the other person's point of view and can actually share it back, so that you're not assuming you're on the same page. You actually find out if you are or not. Well, when you're yelling and screaming, that's not happening. There's more of who's proving who's right, or one person gets real loud and the other person shuts down. Now, if you don't like conflict, like I did not like conflict, I hated anxiety, I didn't want to rock the boat, I just wanted people to like me, then you won't say things, you won't be direct, or you won't be honest. And a lot of times you'll just hope that things go away on its own. So you'll get distracted, you'll become aloof, you'll shut down, you'll disappear, you'll avoid. And that sweeping it under the rug only creates more problems and a powder keg down the road. So, other ways that we try to stuff our feelings instead of getting them out is we will drink, we will eat, we will smoke, we'll swallow pills, we'll gamble, we'll go shopping, there's internet porn, there's affairs, there's lots of ways that are unuseful, or I hate the word negative, but not very effective when it comes to really getting what you want. So a lot of times we create this win-lose scenario where in the moment it feels good, but then afterwards it creates more suffering. And that's like taking an aspirin that gives you a migraine 10 minutes later. It just doesn't make it work, right? It just creates more frustration for you. People say, well, I'm just going to binge out, or I'm just going to get drunk. And then what's waiting for them afterwards is some self-abuse, guilt, shame, beating up on ourselves, or creating health problems, or creating havoc for other people, which just creates more problems for ourselves. And so when you think about a cost-benefit analysis, you're kind of asking yourself, is it worth it? How I'm behaving right now, is it really going to get me what I want, or is it just going to cause more cost and more pain and suffering? And so what you got to do instead is go within and manage your mind. Sometimes people think our mind is there to just scare us all the time, but it's not. Often it brings up the painful things we've experienced because it's trying to say, hey, you've had this experience. What can we do to not have it again? And so it will often cause you to remember all the bad things that have ever happened to you in your life as a way of protecting you from experiencing that again. But if you think about it from an objective point of view, if you have to relive every bad thing you've ever happened, you're not avoiding the pain, you're keeping it alive. You're not working through it and resolving it, you're keeping the wound fresh. It's like saying, hey, I got this cut on my arm, I don't want to get cut on my arm again, so I have to remember that how I got cut on my arm, and in order to remember that, I'm going to have to keep picking the scab off. I'm going to have to keep making sure that that cut on my arm doesn't heal, so I'm going to have to keep digging into it. Now, when you think of it that way, it's like, what? That's not going to work. You're just keeping the wound fresh instead of allowing it to heal and then go away. And so our goal is to do the inner work and release those pains from our past. And there's lots of ways to do that. And the goal is to heal it up so that it goes away. Now, you can keep the wisdom without having to torture yourself with all the pain. You can understand that when you go through life, you're experiencing feedback. And you can use this feedback in a positive way in the future, while also releasing yourself from the toxic feelings that might have gone with it. And that is called wisdom. But a lot of people don't think of it that way. What they do is they think, how can I prevent bad things from happening? And so we develop habits that are known as worrying, obsessing, ruminating, catastrophizing, right? Making mountains out of molehills, obsessing and repeating over and over all the things that you're upset about, or the bad things that have happened, or how someone looked at you the wrong way, or how someone didn't respond to your text fast enough, or how someone didn't give you the feedback that you were wanting, even though you've never actually told them what you wanted. They should just know, right? We have all these rules, judgments, and expectations going on in our mind. So if you're thinking, okay, yes, I'm doing these things, how do I stop it? Well, I'm going to give you just a couple simple tips real quick. So tip number 1, use power breathing. Breathe in through your nose, down to your belly, slowly exhale. You power breathe because when we're stressed or frustrated or fearful, we breathe through our mouth. And this causes hyperventilation. It makes us more tense. It speeds up our body inside. It speeds up our mind, which accelerates the worry and the stress. So what you want to do is slow down. Before you try to change your thinking, you got to change your state, which means you got to slow down and get more resourceful. So power breathing, where you're breathing in through your nose, down to your belly, down to the bottom of your lungs, and then you slowly exhale, it forces you to slow down. Once your body starts slowing down, you'll become more resourceful. Your mind will become more open, okay? You can't imagine a car flying down the road 100 miles an hour. It's harder to control. But if your car's going down the road 2 miles an hour, it's much easier to make sure that you get it to go in the direction you want it to. And you'll feel much more relaxed driving your car a mile down the road than 100 miles down the road. So slowing your breath down is like taking your foot off the accelerator in the car. Boy, I'm on for these metaphors today, huh? That's awesome. Okay, so, all right. Once you slow down, then you just ask yourself one question. What's the outcome that I want? And if your answer is, I want to be right, okay, well, do the cost benefit then. What's the benefit of being right? What's it going to cost you to be right? Is it going to cost you your happiness? Is it going to cost you the happiness of those around you as well, right? What is it that you need to be right? Because if you're always right, then, I mean, it's okay to be right, but if you always have to be right, then that means you're walking around making everybody else wrong all the time. Now, how close do you think you're going to be with other people if you're constantly making them feel like they're wrong all the time? You know, that's not going to be good. And it's like, well, it makes me feel good. Does it? Does it really? To not have anybody really like you or want to be around you, right? And, well, at least you get respect. Do you really? Not really. People might listen to you if you're a boss because they want their paycheck. They might be married to you and so they, unwillingly just deal with you. But they're not going to love you. They're not going to like you. They're not going to follow you. They're not going to want to be around you. They're not going to want to help you succeed. They won't really care. In fact, what they'll want to do is sabotage you. So, no, you're not winning. So what you do is ask yourself a power question. What's the outcome that I do want? What's best for me and everybody else involved? What would be something that I could do that would leave me feeling proud of myself afterwards? What's something that I could do that would leave me feeling empowered? What's something that I could do that would leave me feeling the way that I want to feel? What would be, how could I learn from this situation? What would I have to believe in order to be feeling the way that I'm feeling? I'm feeling all stressed out and overwhelmed right now. Well, what do I have to feel, or what do I have to believe in order to feel all stressed out and overwhelmed? Maybe I have to believe that, I don't know, that I'm not going to get my stuff done, and then I'm going to get in trouble, and then people are going to be mad at me, and then I'm going to lose my home, and then I'm going to be living in a van down by the river, and everybody's going to hate me. Really? Just because you didn't get a chance to go to the post office? right? And so we catastrophize things. And once we say it out loud, we're like, well, all right, I guess, maybe I'm blowing it out of proportion. Now, there might be things that really are scary that are going on. Maybe you have a child that's sick, or you're worried about your health, or, you need to stop smoking or lose weight, or, you're not going to be around. And so you got to take that serious. And so in that way, what you got to realize is your mind's trying to motivate you into action. So then the question can be, are there other ways to get myself motivated without scaring myself or stressing myself out? See, most people use fear as a motivator because it works, but it also puts us in a horrible state. And, think about it. Do you want to have to get totally stressed out, angry, scared, and overwhelmed in order to just be motivated? I mean, do you want to have to put yourself through that every time you want to get something done? I mean, that's stressful, isn't it? What if there are other ways to feel totally motivated while being peaceful, while feeling excited, while looking forward to it? See, that's possible too. It's just a lot of times people have one trick and that's what they use. So that's why your inner journey is so important. So if you just learn to slow down by using your power breathing and then redirect your mind, not on what you're afraid of, but on what you want to have happen, your mind will start to, it'll grasp it. It'll say, well, that'll actually make me feel better, and it will feel motivated to move in that direction. Because remember, we're motivated away from pain, but also towards pleasure. So if you can teach your mind how to associate more comfort and pleasure and peace to the things that you need to move towards, instead of focusing so much on what you're afraid of, it will actually switch your motivational strategy. And you'll find yourself focusing on the outcomes that you want instead of what you're afraid is going to happen. That will cause you to feel motivated, so you're getting the same outcome that you want, but just in a more peaceful way. You're changing the vehicle that you're using to get there. You're using a different set of emotions to drive you. And that is wisdom. That is self-mastery. So as you are working on yourself, the goal is to develop these tools, these strategies, surround yourself with people, audio programs, podcasts, like my stuff, Psych Secrets for skyrocketing your business and life, right? So you can, listen to different audio programs and surround yourself with people who are going to believe you or believe in you and support you and share different tools and strategies so that you can pick up some nugget that you'll be like, you know what, today I'm going to apply what I'm learning here. Today I'm going to use that power breathing. Today I'm going to pay attention to the rules that I have set up for myself that I didn't know I had set up for myself, right? I'm going to pay attention to, if I'm emotionally reacting right now, why? Why am I emotionally reacting right now? What's going on inside of me that's causing me to feel this way? What rule is being violated right now? And start to pay attention to that. I love the question, what would I have to think in order to feel this way? What would I have to believe right now in order to feel the way that I'm feeling? And then ask yourself that. And if your first response is, I have no idea, I don't know. Well, that's because this is probably new and you're not used to developing this mindset or this mindfulness yet. Stay with it. Because, people would say, I have no idea. And I would say, well, what if you did know? If you had to guess, what might it be? And then they always come up with some brilliant insight. Well, I don't know, I guess, and then they go within. See, if you learn to go within, you never go without. Your answers are inside of you. And it's just a matter of asking the right question or getting the right direction. And that is why it's important to be around this information and have people in your life that can ask you these kinds of questions and help you develop that inner strength inside, because you have it. You have it inside of you. You were born with it. It's just really working intentionally on being more mindful, developing yourself. One of my friends has said before, success is an inside job. And you want to make sure that you are working out the muscle of your mind as well as the muscles in your body, right? So that your brain has biceps. And the better you get at developing yourself on the inside, the happier you're going to feel on the inside. And when you feel happy on the inside, it seems to be reflected on the outside. So there you go. Thanks so much for listening to me today, and make sure that you're paying attention to the rules that you have in your mind. Make sure that you're aware of the cost-benefit analysis. Make sure you subscribe to this podcast and make today a sure success. Thanks for listening. Have a great day. Bye.
Hey, would you like more free tips on how to be a mesmerizing leader? Then check out mesmerizingleadership.com and also hang out with me on Facebook, facebook.com/Tim Shurr. Thanks so much and make your day a sure success.